Hello and welcome to a discussion of The Religion by Tim Willocks, which was the first book I read for the Chunksters Reading Challenge beginning on the 1st of January 2020 and which is 771 pages long. I gave a brief synopsis of the plot in my January TBR video, which you can see in the info cards above. So, what did I think of this novel? The author, Tim Willocks, in The Religion, seems to glory in graphic violence, sadistic cruelty, blood-soaked writing, and distasteful descriptions of bodily functions. There are many sections devoted to battle, and these are florid and gruesome. But after a while they became repetitious. There is only so much gore or descriptions of gobbets of flesh that one can take. It has a cast of unlikable characters, the men of whom indulge in male sexual fantasies. Actually, there is one likable character, and that is Burak, who has a pivotal role at the end of the story. Burak, however, is a horse. Also, the whole plot feels contrived at times, with the battles just becoming a festival of gore. Tim Willocks' The Religion is a tale of love and betrayal, set against the violent and bloody backdrop of the 1565's siege of Malta. If you are disturbed by extreme violence graphically portrayed, then this is not the novel for you. Tim Willocks can certainly write and write well. I was particularly impressed by the following very fine passage from page 571. He reached out his hand across the space between them and touched her cheek, and she pushed her face against his palm, and a shiver ran through her. He slid his fingers into her hair, and she craned back her neck. She felt his breath on her face and looked at him. His eyes were fiery blue, even in the dim yellow light. Her mind swam. Her body melted with elation, with sorrow, with fear, with the spectre of guilt. Her lips parted, and she closed her eyes, and he kissed her. His beard was rough on her skin. He smelled of powder smoke and sweat, and the sweat stirred the memory of her original longing for him in the garden on the hill. His lips shocked her with the delicacy of their touch. He sighed into her throat. His lips pressed harder. She wanted to throw herself against him, to hold him and be held, to slake her thirst, to fall and surrender and forget and vanish forever into his arms. But her limbs wouldn't move, and instead she lay cradled by his hand as if afloat on an ocean of bliss. His mouth pulled away, and his hand too, and she didn't move, and didn't want to move, for she didn't want it to be over. But this, however, is an oasis in a desert of degradation, filth, and disgusting descriptions. The battle scenes are particularly rich in description. I had never realized how many different ways there are of describing blood, gore, and gristle. However, the battle scenes are told with unrelenting relish, and there are just too many of them. There is nothing particularly unique about the characters either. They are basically stock characters and are a miserable lot. Despite the characterization not being entirely original, Willocks does make the reader care for his creations, and as the final days of the siege played out, I wanted to know how each of the main protagonists would end up. After wading through mountains of blood and gristle to get there, the ending is very well written, and the novel would have been very good indeed if it had been written in the same tone throughout. So overall, I would recommend The Religion, although not to the faint of heart or the short of time. Willocks does have the ability to impressively convey the horror of medieval warfare. However, some restraint would not have gone amiss. Battle fatigue sets in around halfway through the proceedings, and it is something of a slog to make it all the way to the admittedly impressive denouement. Although the story is impressive in its own way, there is nothing delightful or enjoyable in the story. There are some interesting episodes in the book that hold the attention, but inevitably the action descends into graphic violence, sadistic cruelty, and distasteful descriptions of bodily functions. As someone who has read widely in Victorian literature and enjoys the classics of English, French and Russian literature, being plunged into a cesspit of vile modern writing is a shock to my literary sensibilities. Tim Willocks relishes describing all the disgusting, degrading aspects of human existence and then rubbing your nose in the filth again and again. So my rating for this book is C. And now that I've read it, I have donated £10 to Book Aid International. And now here's a quick recap, and I'll be back soon with another BookTube video.